guys, welcome back to my channel. I actually can't believe I'm saying that. I said I'd never say that. Today, I'm literally going to be talking about my boobs, my experience, and how my surgery went. Really strange video for me to do because I don't normally talk about it. Everyone I know knows I've got it done, but I just wanted to let you guys know what my experience was. I asked you guys some questions on Instagram. No, I didn't. I asked you guys to ask me some questions on Instagram just about what you guys wanted to know and what you really wanted to hear about my experience, to be honest. Just kind of tell you guys what happened, all that shit. These are just like the most common questions that people have asked me. The first question was, did you get drains? And if you did they hurt? I don't know many surgeons that do this, but yes, I had drains. I was really like shocked at where they were and how they sat and how they felt, to be quite honest. They were uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie to any of you, they were uncomfortable, but I guess it's for a good thing that they put the drains in. I think it's to drain the blood because you can get internal bleeding, and it's just to make sure that that's all drained out before obviously they send you home. When they take the drains out, it's the weirdest feeling ever. Like they literally pull it from the side of your boob. It was in here and they pull it, obviously gently, like not harsh or anything like that. Not painful, it's just a very uncomfortable pain. It's not painful, but it was uncomfortable. I mean, you're so drugged up at that point. You kind of just probably would be painful if you weren't drugged up, but you are. So it's just an uncomfortable tug. Nurses are really good with you. Like they tell you to breathe in and out and then it's done. Another question was, how was your recovery? I've got a really fun story to tell you. So my recovery was actually awful, purely on the basis of I had no idea I was allergic to penicillin. And not only like I've got a migraine allergic, I was literally on my deathbed. I was blackout having a seizure. I'm not even joking you. I was so allergic to penicillin. Is unbelievable. I was taking antibiotics, which obviously you need to make sure that you get no infections or anything like that. And then I think I was on paracetamol, ibuprofen and codeine. Love codeine. It really just zonks you out for that whole time that you're in recovery because you're just in agony. So that was great. I was taking my antibiotics and I was just feeling like really sick and I needed to throw up, and then all of a sudden it was coming up. No way that was staying down. I rang Ollie and I was like, I'm not feeling good. He rushed home from work and I was on the bathroom floor, literally fitting, blackout, like couldn't see a thing, could hear everything, couldn't see a thing. It was awful. Where I was throwing up, my chest was hitting the toilet. I had really sore chest, more than what it should have been, which is like, I hate even going back to that point because it was an awful time. My mum then came round to Ollie's apartment because that's where we were at the time, and she was like, nah, something is really bad here. I need to ring an ambulance. So I had an ambulance come out. They hooked me up to all of the machines. My pulse was dropping. They gave me like 2 jabs, massive needles in the side of my arm. I think one of them was an anti-sickness to just stop my throwing up. I was just, oh, it was awful. Eventually I came around, but previous to that, I kept taking my antibiotics, so I was making myself even worse and even worse. So I had a really bad reaction. My recovery was probably nowhere near as simple as everybody else's, because everybody else probably just lays in bed with a pregnancy pillow and just chills and watches movies and eats crap food. That wasn't me. Like, I was so poorly. Ollie actually contacted my surgeon. He said, this has happened. She's really allergic to penicillin, can't take her antibiotics anymore. So what do we do? So I had to stop all, I repeat, all medication. No antibiotics, no medication whatsoever. Like, I was just living in that pain. It was awful. Another question I got was, do they feel fake to touch? So here, no, like they feel like normal boobs. Yes, you can feel the implant if you like squidge around them. I think that's just normal because it's open tissue, isn't it? Got an implant in there, so obviously you're gonna feel it. It's gonna feel a bit different. The underneath of my boob has remained numb. I cannot feel like this bit of my boob. I can feel that I'm touching it, but you know when something's just not quite there. They do feel fake to touch, but at the same time they don't. Really hard one to answer. I'm sure everybody has different experiences. I got a question about nipple sensitivity. Like most of you, nipple sensitivity, and the girl that asked this question, is a big part of their sex life. It just is. It's a normal thing, if you didn't know. Nipple sensitivity. Before my surgery, my surgeon actually said there is a 50% chance that you will lose all sensitivity in your nipples. I wasn't too fussed about it, to be honest with you. It wasn't that big of a deal to me. Luckily, I was still able to feel everything through my nipples. Through my nipples? What am I on about? I can still feel my nipples. You do get told that there is that risk that you could lose sensitivity. I actually think my nipples are more sensitive now. I don't know if that's a thing, but that's how they feel. How long did it take to get back to normal? For me, obviously telling you guys my experience with my recovery was quite a while. I think it was a month before I even started to feel normal again. I was so tired all the time. It was just an awful recovery. Grateful for them now, they look great, but the recovery was just awful. I can only speak from experience. It was about a month, I'd say even longer, maybe 6 weeks, where I was just moping around in pain. But if you're gonna do something like that, expect it. I don't feel like any surgery, cosmetic surgery, is ever a fast recovery. Not a surgeon, I'm just saying what it would be, how it has been for me. Yeah, I'd say about 6 weeks to fully get back to normal. Say that you can't go back into the gym or anything until 6 weeks. I didn't for a longer time than that, purely because I was so poorly. A common question I got was how much were they? I paid £6,000 for mine. I'm pretty sure it might have been 6.5. It was 6 or 6,500. I actually can't remember, but it was around that mark. Totally worth the money. I saved for a while and I'm so glad I did it. I mean, if you're really insecure about your boobs, like I was, that was one of my biggest insecurities, definitely worth spending the money. So I got this question quite a lot. What did I dislike about my natural boobs? I'm gonna laugh, maybe not, you might think I'm a bloody weirdo. My boobs literally looked like ski slopes. Because all of my boobs sat in the bottom, they kind of pointed. They weren't pointy, but I thought they were pointy, and I didn't realise how much boob I actually had before my surgery, hence why I could go so big with my implant. I didn't want massive boobs. My boobs are massive, but obviously I didn't realise how much boob I had before. I just hated how pointy my boobs were. Did I go over or under the muscle? I went over the muscle. This was purely just based on what my surgeon recommended. Because I had the pointy boobs, he recommended I went over the muscle to kind of avoid getting another point. Apparently, if you go over the muscle, it would kind of, where the implant's round, it would curve, rather than under the muscle would push on it so the implant would sit again in the bottom. So I went over the muscle, and yes, you can still breastfeed. Not that I would, I mean, that's my personal choice. You can still breastfeed if you have over the muscle. I know some people think that if you go under the muscle, that's the only way you can breastfeed, but you can in fact breastfeed when you go over. How did I treat my scars? I still have a scar. It's still very visible. I suppose it will fade over the years. I only got my boob job done in July, so not even a year ago yet. Your surgeon will recommend a cream or a gel for your skin type. I can't actually remember what mine was called, but it was in a golden black tube, and you literally just applied it maybe twice a day for 6 months. Just literally on your scar, tiniest amount. I feel like we're having a meeting when I sit like this. Let's talk boobs. I feel like I've moved the camera and it's better. I always get, what size did you get? I went 400cc, yes, I know, it's big. Round, high profile. When you choose your boobs, the surgeon will tell you what size you can go up to, and then they'll let you play around with the implants. There's 3 different types of implants and 3 different shapes you can get. There's round, there's a rounder one, it's literally like a ball. And then there's like an oval one to give that teardrop effect for your boob. I went round, high profile. So obviously, so you'd have that bit of arch above. They have 3 different textures. So they have a really smooth one, a sort of textured one, and then a textured one. I went for the mid one because I didn't want it to slip like the smooth one. I think there's quite a high cancer rate on the textured one. So I went for the middle one. I'm gonna warn you all, gravity will do its thing. You come out of your surgery and your boobs are in your collarbone. That's just how it is. That's where they go, and they're so high up, and that's how they look, and they drop massively. My boobs started up here. That's where they started. When I first came out of my surgery, they were up here. The start of my boob is now here. This is how much they've dropped in under a year. Gravity will do its thing. I cannot stress this enough. They drop loads. The heavier you go, they will drop more. Obviously, I'm not a surgeon. I've just watched friends and myself have the same thing. It's normal. It happens. That's how they look more natural, and that's why I'd always recommend people to go for a round implant rather than a teardrop, because they're always going to drop anyway. I went for a 400cc high profile round implant. Will you go bigger? I don't know whether you could still have the same implant in after you have to get them changed and everything. I think it's in 15 years, so a long way off. I've literally not had them a year. I don't think I'd go bigger because my frame and my height is very small. Maybe rounder. I know that's really strange to say because I've got a round implant, but there's one up from that. I definitely probably would go rounder just to give that effect. If you like having fake boobs. I mean, I think that's the only thing I'd change if I was to have them done again. Obviously, I will not have to have them done for a long time unless anything, touch wood, it doesn't, goes wrong. Consultations. I got quite a few questions on consultations. I'm gonna tell you for free, watch this video, take my advice, do your research. I went to 3 surgeons and had 3 different consultations with different surgeons. I cannot advise you enough to do that. Go and have as many consultations as possible. You want to feel comfortable with your surgeon. So I got recommended 3 surgeons. All these girls' boobs that recommended these 3 surgeons were amazing. Their boobs were amazing. However, you need to feel comfortable from the get-go with your surgeon. My surgeon made me feel extremely comfortable. I could take my top off and let him draw before my surgery with no problem. I didn't feel any type of way because of how professional he was. I cannot stress enough how important it is to have as many consultations, get to know the surgeons, and feel comfortable. Feeling comfortable with your surgeon is the biggest thing. I cannot stress that enough. You need to feel comfortable, and I know I've said this a lot, but you do. 3 surgeons, 3 consultations. I had 2 consultations with my surgeon. The first one was actually over a Zoom call. Prior to that Zoom call, you send pictures of all angles of your boobs. I set mine up on a tripod. Funnily enough, I have one. So I set mine up on a tripod, took the pictures, sent them over to, I think it was his assistant or the nurse or someone, and they make a 3D picture of you. What they do on that consultation is they set up another screen. You get to see yourself with the boobs. That's how I knew what I was going for was going to be pretty much what I wanted. But going to the second consultation where I got to take a sports bra and then put the implants actually inside my sports bra so I'd know how heavy they are and what they'd actually look like, it made me feel a lot better that I had that first consultation so I knew what they were going to look like on my body. The second one is when he feels around, I know that sounds really weird, but feels around, takes a look, shows you the loads of different implants, shows you different sizes. Originally I was going to go for a 375cc and I actually opted for a 400 because it was 15cc bigger, and why wouldn't you if you can? The 2 consultations that I had from my surgeon, amazing. My surgeon was amazing and felt incredibly comfortable with him. If you guys have any more questions, please don't hesitate to DM me on Instagram. I'll be happy to talk to you in more detail about things, give you my advice or my experience. So my DMs are always open for questions like this, based on anything really. If you have any questions to ask me, just either comment them down below or DM me on Instagram. I really do hope this video was helpful for a lot of you because I do tend to get quite a few questions based on my boobs. I hope this helped. Please make sure you subscribe and smash the like button, and yeah, thanks for watching.